Hello, this is Nico Splice, and this is a compilation of my Chimera Academy people. I recorded these separately, so this is just an intro to prepare you for everything. And you'll see me switching programs a lot here. I was just testing like many different programs, but in the end, I am sticking to Clip Studio Paint. So, enjoy the compilation of my Chimera Academy characters. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Nico's Place. I am showing everyone my story, which I'm dubbing Chimera Academy. And with my stories like these, I will be calling them my design den, where I design stories and whatnot, and will be strictly my original stories rather than any fan art I end up doing. Anyways, let's get on to the character I'm drawing. Her name is Bonnabelle Stein. Most people call her Bonnie, but later on in the story, the main character who she'll be interacting with, they're both gonna be main characters, but the protagonist, whose name is Connor, she'll be calling her cousin, and he's gonna end up nicknaming her Bon Bon, because I thought that was fun. Plus, she uses gumballs for her electricity, because she's undead, but specifically, like, if you know Frankenstein, she's one of those. But I wanted to change the name of what you call them, and I'm calling them all Stitchborn because of all the stitches on this specific type of undead. And Stitchborn felt like a more creative idea. She basically has lightning magic and enhanced strength. Definitely more than a human, but for these guys, it's going to be more pronounced. And she is a people person, I would say. It's weird to say since Chimera Academy is a monster school, But, you know, how else are you going to describe an extrovert? But she ends up mistaking him as one of her own, a Stitchborn, and calls Connor cousin, despite them never meeting before in the first scene she's introduced. And I just thought that would be kind of funny as their first introduction. Oh yeah, I mentioned before, she uses gumballs for electricity. They're kind of like a conduit. She can throw electrified gumballs. But also, if she chews the gumballs, she could basically shoot lightning out of her mouth. It's not like a laser beam, it's gonna act like electricity and have a zigzaggy kind of arc towards whatever her target is. Hopefully there's nothing in the way that'll conduct it. Maybe that can be a sort of thing she has to bypass by using her powers. But this is gonna be kind of a mystery story, I guess. I don't really know where it's gonna go yet because I'm still writing it out. So far, I have the characters like Bonnie and Connor. I have 2 other friends they're also gonna interact with, but that's gonna be in a future video. In this one, just how you see Bonnie, and then I'm gonna introduce Connor in a bit and explain how he got to Chimera Academy, since he is human. And I'll just introduce him right now, since in a few seconds you're gonna see him. Okay, now let's talk about Connor. I made him Latino, but that's only important because of the food he likes, which is going to be a little important later on. Because his name is Connor Stein specifically, and I already forget if I mentioned it before, but every Stitchborn is gonna have the last name Stein, and that's why no one suspects him when he first enters the academy. And unlike most other series like Rosario Vampire or what's that other one? The Demon School one. I'm gonna make it so Connor will be able to use magic, because they always give them some way to use magic, but instead of doing it in a roundabout way, I'm just gonna make it so they can use magic if they believe enough, pretty much. Because the other way just feels too convoluted to me. So I'm just gonna make it so they can do magic if they believe enough. And it'll basically, it's on belief, but magic basically in this universe will come from the soul. But not literally. Like, for example, art. It comes from your passion, and people say when you put your soul into your art, I'm gonna do that basically with how they can do magic. I'm not making him super strong or anything. He's an average human. But I am gonna make him have basically what you would call functional strengths, like a construction worker versus a bodybuilder. So he can climb, jump, all that stuff. Plus, I'm giving him a somewhat active backstory, despite being the nerdy type, I would say, even though he doesn't look it, but that's how I was too, so I'm implementing some traits from me into him. And that's basically Chimera Academy. And in future stories, I do want to give them conflicts that I haven't come up with yet. But thank you for stopping by. This was the introduction to Chimera Academy, the Design Den, and I will sprinkle in fan art here and there, redesigning characters and whatnot. In a minute, you're gonna see the final result of both Connor and Bonneville Stein. And just enjoy until my next video. Thank you for coming. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Arachnophobia warning, I guess, and welcome back to Nico Splice. This here I'm designing is Juniper cambric. She is a type of Arachne, and I modeled her after this red spiny orb weaver that you see me playing around with because I wanted something more unique than the Arachne you would usually see, at least the ones I've seen in any media and anime. I wanted to give her a different type of powers than just your basic spider. In my idea, it's not visualized in the design, but I had this idea where instead of venom, her threads would be made of gold, but only the very outer layer. And that would mean her weakness is kind of fire, but it has to be hot enough to melt gold. Otherwise, that would just be too easy. And obviously, since she's a spider, she can walk on walls and stuff. And sense of equilibrium. And I decided to give her, like, real fangs. And I gave her just 4 eyes, because I felt like 8 eyes would have been too much, and the spider I modeled her after anyway only has 4 eyes. You see me changing up my brushes a lot, which happens sometimes when I'm trying to draw. I keep rearranging and redesigning my brushes. Not redesigning, but you know. As for her personality, I thought she should be, like, intellectually smart and cool and collected, but kind of emotionless. What you would call a kudere in anime. As for the relationship between her and the main cast, I was thinking she would be like an intellectual rival between her and Connor. who is posing as a Stein, so he's making up for it using his smarts. Even though this kind of school isn't his forte, I still wanted to make her an intellectual rival, in a sense. I'm not sure where I'm going with the story yet, because right now I'm just showing my character creation process. And so far I have who you're seeing right now, Juniper, and there's also Bonnabelle and Connor, which you've already seen. And right now, there's this Arachne. And despite her cold nature, I felt like giving her a red base based on this spider here. I could have tone shifted her to fit her vibe, but I like doing like opposites, like a giant who's actually sweet, that sort of thing. And I had to design the spider body first to make the rest of her easier, since the spider body's so big. And I do not remember at what stage I designed her, or the rest of her, the upper half. But I wanted to give her cool eyes to contrast her red body. And right here I'm just cleaning her up. And right now I'm kind of experimenting with my style. I've drawn these characters in like 3 different ways. My classic way was with the first one with Bonnie. And with Connor I was kind of experimenting. And in her case, I'm also experimenting with how I'm drawing her. And here you'll see me finally drawing her body and uniform. But I made it so that our uniform isn't required in their school, but because of her intellectual nature and prestige, I wanted her to want to have a uniform. Right now you'll see me designing a skirt to cover that area, but I ended up scrapping it and kind of chopping that part off, which you'll see in a second. Right here is where I'm trying to figure out a good skin tone for her. I wanted something to match the red body, sort of, but I didn't want it too red, so I kind of shift around the colors slightly. Oh yeah, I forgot that I gave her actual fangs. For a bit, they look like frog cheeks, because that's kind of what they look like without any fangs attached. Even though the spider doesn't have fangs, I wanted it more visual. And here I'm having a hard time with those hands, which I get back to later. But I change around the hair a little because I was not satisfied at first. Wanted like what anime uses for black hair but isn't black hair. Like a dark raven. And here I gave her a button. And then, then here I'm fixing stuff up. Oh yeah, I skipped that part in the recording of fixing the hands, because I felt kind of ashamed of my hands. so I don't show me fixing the hands on screen. And here you'll see me fixing up the arms at least, and finally finishing up her uniform, which I thought suited her, but it took me a while to decide what kind of uniform to give her, and this is what I finally ended up with. And now this is me just cleaning it up. And I honestly forgot about the auto shape feature for a long time, even though by the time I started this artwork, it was already public. And here I'm fixing up the hair. Even if I change my style again, I want to keep the way I create the hair. I don't remember if I clean up the eyebrows, and I'm not sure story-wise what to discuss with you guys, but I'll try to discuss a few things. I was thinking of making her interact with the main character because of something he knew that she didn't, and she starts to see him as a rival and gets curious because he's human in a monster school and has multiple reasons to be curious about him. And that's what I was thinking of where to go with my story. But honestly, I'm better at visuals than telling. Like right here, what was I doing? But here is just me cleaning up because there's only about a minute left in this recording. And I'm just playing around and cleaning everything up and doing a process I saw from Lines Sensei on YouTube. Even if my style isn't anime like his, but the shading, that doesn't matter, does it? Well, thank you. This was Juniper at Chimera Academy. Enjoy. Welcome to Chimera Academy, and this will be the last one for Chimera Academy for a while, since I just finished the main cast. And this is Valkyrie Kila Hero. The Kila part is a nickname from Valkyrie. And I'm just trying to design her to make her the muscle, basically, since my others are more magical and strategic. I needed one to be the muscle. And I thought of making a werewolf, but I thought Hyena would be cooler. And this is also a shorter video because I feel like I was just trying to grasp at straws with what I was talking about in the other ones. And I'll just discuss my process here. I was switching through a bunch of programs here. You'll see me go from Procreate to Art Studio Pro and Clip Studio. And not in this one, but I ended up choosing Ibis Paint again, just because I want something without a subscription. And Procreate doesn't feel right to me, and the blending tool in Art Studio kinda sucks. And Clip Studio would be perfect if it wasn't so cluttered, and simple mode just doesn't feel right to me. But back to the actual character. I made her a hyena person, and I basically gave her poison claws, and also she has a sonic scream or sonic laugh, because I thought that would be interesting to implement her hyena nature into her powers. And of course she has like enhanced strength, and I'm probably gonna make her a little bit more taller than the other characters that I made so far, because I thought that'd be interesting. And I am giving her kind of cat-like instincts, basically, where she's gonna mark who she likes or what she considers her property, like her friends and potential boyfriend, in my character art I'm making. And I may turn this into a comic eventually, but for now I just have a series of drawings with them, but not interacting together, which I may do later. And just wanted to upload some videos to show my progress and how I draw, because I'm not good at teaching with tutorials in art, but I decided just to make this to monitor my process and just want to show people my characters and thought it'd be interesting. And that was Valkyrie Kila Hero. Here is the final result. Thank you for watching.